Okay, so this is Consumer Theory Part 5. Today we will learn about food stamp program, which is a general application of budget lines, composite goods, taxes, and rationing. Okay, so let's begin. So first of all, let's draw a budget line first in a two good space. We have a budget line, right? Here we have good Y, and here we have good X. Now, what are the intercepts? If all income spent on good X, we have M by P1. All income spent on good Y, we have M by P2. Okay. Now, what we generally know is that a consumer faces a choice, and the goods among which he faces the choice is X comma Y. Okay. Now, there are two goods, but for composite goods, what are really composite goods? Another name for composite good is numeraire good. And numeraire commodity. Now, from where this numeraire concept is taking place is that we are getting the price of a composite good is always one. Okay. Now, let's try to understand what exactly is this composite good thing we are talking about. So let's draw another budget line. Okay, so we have here another budget line. Now, up until now, we have seen that consumers choice between good X and good Y. But now, what we are uh, trying to analyze is that we need to center or focus our attention towards how the consumer is behaving with only one good, that is good X on the horizontal axis. So we want to name some good that is covering all the other goods other than X. So that is the money income. Okay, for example, you already know the budget line takes the form X into P1 plus Y into P2 equals to M. This is general form of the budget line we have studied so far. But in case of composite good, what we have is X into P1, that is our good, plus now the price of the composite good is 1. Like, it covers all those goods which a consumer is spending his income upon except good X, which is on our horizontal axis. So there we have Y equals to M. Now you have got to understand that the price P2 has turned into 1. So what we get is here Y is our composite good or numeraire good. Numeraire good, since price equals to 1. And now the intercepts are here it is same M by P1, and here Y equals to M. Okay, all the money income spent on other composite goods except X. On X, if the consumer is not spending any amount of his income, then all his income is spent in composite good, that is all goods other than X. So this was one concept about composite goods. Is the main point is the price of composite good is equal to 1. It is the good uh, which is being consumed by the consumer other than the X commodity. Okay. Now, why are we using this composite good analysis is that we want to focus on how the consumer behaves when only the price of good X is changing, or what are the consumer behavior in cases of good X, the choice around good X. Okay. So this was just an idea about the composite good. You can also label it as expenditure on other commodities. Expenditure on other goods. That is on the y-axis. Okay, now let's turn our attention towards food stamp program. Food stamp program. Okay, So this is a very general application of the budget line, and you must have also observed it around yourself. But here we take three cases. Okay, not to help the underprivileged or the poor households or those consumers. The government announces food stamp program. Now, what are the cases in which government can announce a food stamp program? Now, uh, these include three cases. Like for example, the first case can be to provide food coupons. Okay, so guys, there was slight issue in the audio for the video beyond this point, so I'm re-recording the audio for that. Now we are going to look at three cases for food stamp programs. The three cases are as follows. Number one is that food coupons worth rupees 1000 are given by the government for free. Second case, food coupons worth rupees 1000 are given to the consumer for rupees 500. And the third case would be uh, when the food coupons are given worth rupees 1000 for food for rupees 250 to the consumer. Okay. So we will be analyzing like how the budget lines and the consumer's choice operates in such cases, and how the diagrams are to be made in these three cases for food stamp programs. You can find a very good explanation in the variant book, as I followed variant for this case study for food stamp program. Now let's move to the first case. So we have drawn a two good space in which we have good X, that is food, and a good Y, which will be our composite good, that is all about the money income the consumer has. We have labeled our axis, which are food on the horizontal axis. On the vertical axis, we have the money income. The intercepts are you would have known naturally, m by p1, and on the vertical axis we have m. Now let's try to think like what is the consumer faces here. Now until he consumes rupees 1000 worth of food, does not has to pay anything about from his initial money income m. So let's mark a point 1000 upon p1, rupees 1000 worth of food. He faces zero price as he is given the food coupon worth rupees 1000 food for free by the government. So in the initial case, when the food stamp program is not there, he might be on this point in this budget line. But now, when he faces a zero price in the food stamp program until 1000 units of food, 1000 worth of food, he faces a flat budget line because the price ratio has turned to zero, because we have P1 to be zero and P2 whatever that would be. In the original budget line, we have P1 by P2 as a slope, but in the food stamp program, with rupees 1000 worth of food for free, we face a zero price until the consumer consumes rupees 1000 worth of food. Okay, so in this case, we face a flat budget line until rupees 1000 worth of food is consumed, and therefore we get a flat budget line until 1000 by P1 of worth of food is consumed, and after that, if the consumer wants to consume beyond 1000 rupees worth of food, he has to pay the market price, that is P1 by P2. So the segment of the budget line would be flat until 1000 by P1 point, and beyond that, it would be back to the normal, that is P1 by P2 case. So we have zero slope budget line, the flat budget line, this segment, and beyond that we have a normal uh, budget line with the slope P1 by P2 that is parallel to the original budget line. Now let's move to the second case. We have worth rupees 1000 worth of food is given for rupees 500, but before that we need to analyze the intercept. What is the intercept in case 1 with the food stamp program? Now let's try to think the consumer. Uh, what is the maximum amount consumer can consume of food in this case? First, the consumer has his initial income to be M, and which 1000 worth of food he's getting for free. So both added divided by the P1, that is the price. So this is the intercept 1000 plus M by P1. As he has his initial income M intact, he is not spending anything until rupees 1000 worth of food he has consumed. So he's getting M plus 1000 worth of food divided by the price. Now let's move to case 2 where he's getting worth rupees 1000 worth of food for rupees 500. We are drawing the two good space. We have food again on the horizontal, on the vertical we have money income. Now in this case the consumer is paying rupees 500 out of his pocket for getting rupees 1000 worth of food. In first case you can make the distinction that the consumer is facing a zero price of food until rupees 1000 worth of food is being consumed by him or her. But here he has to pay rupees 500 for how much worth of food? Rupees 1000 worth of food. So, in another sense, if we can look at it another way, the consumer is getting a half price of food until rupees 1000 worth of food is consumed. So, our budget line until rupees 1000 worth of food point would be sloped 1 by 2 in relation to the original budget line. So, let's now draw the food stamp budget line in this case. In the first case, the price ratio, the budget line has sloped zero because he is paying a zero price until rupees 1000 worth of food is consumed. In second case, we are paying half the price until rupees 1000 worth of food is consumed. So here the slope will be 1 by 2 until rupees 1000 upon P1 point. So we will drawing with this in red color, and the point is 1000 by P1, and beyond that if he wants to consume he has to pay the market price ratio, that is P1 by P2, that is parallel to the initial budget line without food stamp program. Now here the intercept would be, you can think now, he's getting rupees 500 worth of food because free for free because he's paying rupees 500, but he's getting food worth rupees 1000. So from his initial money income we have subtracted 1000, we have subtracted 500, but we are getting rupees 1000 worth of food. That turns out to be M plus 500 divided by P1. That is the intercept. He can get maximum food if he wants to consume the maximum food. He has only money income. He's getting 500 worth of food free divided by P1. Okay, now let's move to case 3 where 1000 worth of food is given for rupees 250. Now you can figure it out yourself, like what will be the slope, the budget line until rupees 1000 worth of food is consumed. Now here the consumer is facing one fourth price of what he would have faced without the food stamp program. In second case, he was facing half the price. Here he is facing one fourth the price. So the budget line would be uh, one fourth the slope, one by four the slope until 1000 worth of food is consumed. Okay, so let's draw it. The slope should be 1 by 4. It must be flatter than, it must be, yes, flatter than 1 by 2 slope in case you are drawing the two cases together, case 2 and case 3. But here we can draw it neatly. The budget line beyond 1000 by P1 point, it turns again parallel to the original budget line because the consumer beyond the point of the food coupon, he is facing the market prices P1 by P2. Here the intercept would be M plus 250 as he's M plus 750 as he's getting 750 worth of food free divided by P1. There might be some issue in the audio sign, but we can manage. The notes are in the description box if you would like to see at them. And do cover the previous parts of consumer theory as well, as they contain very important basic concepts about utility functions and consumer theory. Okay, now let's talk about taxes. There can be three types: per unit tax or quantity tax. Then we have value tax or ad valorem tax, and then we would be having lump sum tax. Lump sum tax. Okay, now let's discuss the first kind of tax, that is we have quantity tax, also known as per unit tax. The government imposes a tax on good X, let us suppose, of T per unit. So the price inflates by the amount T. So our budget line turns to be X into P1 plus T plus Y into P2, good while as it is equals to M. The original slope was P1 by P2. The new slope after the tax is P1 plus T by P2. So naturally, the budget line has become steeper because numerator has increased since the slope has increased by the amount of the tax per unit tax. So we'll be drawing this case. We draw an original budget line and then we draw a steeper budget line to show the impact of the quantity tax. Let's draw it neatly. This is the original budget line and this is a steeper budget line after the imposition of tax, quantity tax on good X. Okay, let's discuss second case in taxes. That is, we have value tax. Now, the government imposes a tax on the expenditure or the value of expenditure you are value of income you are spending on good X. That is a percentage tax. For example, let there be tau percentage of value tax imposed on good X. So our budget line original would be xp1 plus yp2 equals to m, the original budget line. Now, after the ad valorem tax, we get XP1, that is the original expenditure, plus a certain percentage of this expenditure, plus tau percentage into XP1 plus YP2 as it is equals to M. Now we take P1 common, XP1 common, we get 1 plus tau plus YP2 equals to M. The original slope of budget line without before the value tax was P1 by P2, but now after the imposition of value tax, we get the slope to be uh, 1 plus tau into P1 upon P2. So naturally, the slope has increased, the bird line is turned steeper. So you'll be drawing a similar diagram like we drew in case one. Then we discuss the third case, that is the last tax, that is lump sum tax. So this is a similar as in case one we had. Now let's talk about case three, that is our third case, lump sum tax. Now what happens in lump sum tax is that government does not impose any tax on any good you are consuming, but the government simply chops off a portion of your income or uh, taxes or takes a certain portion of your income, thus limiting your budget choices. So in this case, the budget line does not turn steeper, it does not turn flatter, it just moves inwards, shifts inwards, in other terms. So this is our original budget line before the lump sum tax. After the budget line, our after the tax, lump sum tax, our budget line shifts inwards, and we don't have these colorful choices. The red choice I have marked. These choices are not no longer available to the consumer. All right. Now, in case of subsidies, we have the similar analysis. What happens there is that the prices, in spite of except the price, do not get inflated in as in they didn't taxes, but in subsidies, the government reduces the price of certain commodities, and in lump sum subsidy, the government provides you certain portion of your uh, income. It adds to a certain portion of your income. Okay, you can find subsidies in my notes, full notes of our micro. Now let's move to rationing. The rationing can be of two types. We have binding rationing constraint and non-binding rationing constraint. Consider a situation in which a country is facing some shortage of supply of food or any other commodity, and it imposes some restriction or rationing constraint on the sale of the particular good. In this case, we are taking X bar as a restricted quantity. It can be binding, it can be non-binding. Okay, let's draw both the cases. The basic difference is that in case the restricted amount lies under the budget set, it is binding. If the restricted amount of a commodity, the rationed amount of the quantity lies outside the budget set, it is not impacting the consumer, then it is non-binding. You can see the two cases. Let us say X bar lies under the budget set of the consumer, so it is a binding as he cannot uh, consume more of X commodity beyond X bar level. So the green shaded region is the only budget set available to him. So this is binding ration constraint. Now in this case, our restricted quantity is X bar, which lies outside the budget set of the consumer. So it is not impacting the consumer. He can now also consume any amount of good X under his budget. So it is a non-binding rationing constraint. So that was all about part 5 in consumer theory. If you haven't covered previous parts, do cover them as well. You can find the notes in description. If you're loving the videos until now, do subscribe to the channel and refer them to your friends who are currently in second year of their economics honors. Good luck. Let's meet in the next part.